Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Learner Podcast. I'm Anna, and today we're diving into something every traveler has experienced at least once: getting lost in a city and needing to ask for directions.
And I'm Tom, the official king of getting lost, the champion of walking confidently in the wrong direction, the master of I totally know where I'm going, even when I absolutely don't.
You really are. I've seen you hold a perfectly clear map, turn it upside down, stare at it like it personally betrayed you, and still walk the wrong way.
The map did betray me. It didn't match the buildings I saw.
Because you were holding it upside down, Tom.
That's a minor detail. Anyway, asking for directions is something I should have a degree in, honestly.
A degree in help, I'm lost.
Exactly, and every city I visit becomes my final exam.
The funny part is, before you ask for directions, you always try to solve it yourself. You stand in the middle of the street, turning slowly like you're a human compass recalibrating.
I'm checking for magnetic fields.
No, you're checking if any street feels right.
Sometimes a street just has a vibe, okay?
And usually that vibe leads straight to a bakery.
Hey, that's not a bad ending.
True. But seriously, asking for directions is part of traveling. It's like talking to the city itself through its people.
That's poetic. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, excuse me, can you save me from my terrible navigation skills?
Some people give the most detailed directions ever, like they've been waiting their whole life for this moment.
Yes, they'll be like, go straight past the old cafe, turn left where the cat always sleeps, then walk until you see the White House. Not the cream one, the white one. Very different.
And then you realize you don't even know what the old cafe looks like.
Or the cat. What if the cat took a day off?
Cats always take days off. One time in Tokyo, I asked for directions to a train station, and the man gave me the most beautiful explanation in Japanese.
And you nodded like you understood every word?
I did. I performed my best. I totally get this face.
And then walked in the opposite direction.
Confidence is key.
My funniest experience was in Paris. I asked for directions to a museum, and the man used so many hand gestures that I felt like I was watching a dance performance.
I love dramatic directions. It makes it feel like a treasure hunt.
But it works. I remember gestures more than words sometimes.
Same. If someone points strongly to the left, I lock that into my brain.
Have you ever asked someone and they immediately said, "Oh, I'm not from here either"?
Yes, it's like two strangers lost together in the same universe.
And then you apologize to each other even though neither of you did anything wrong.
I once asked someone in a shopping mall, and they started giving directions, and halfway through they said, "Wait, that's not right." Then changed the entire route.
That must have been confusing.
I left with 3 different possible paths and chose the one with the prettiest lights.
That's not a bad strategy.
You know what's even more interesting? When people don't know the answer, but still want to help, so they guess.
Oh, the confident guessers. They say, yeah, go that way. Like they're 100% sure.
And then you end up next to a river you weren't expecting.
Or a parking garage.
Or a random neighborhood where everyone looks at you like, are you lost?
Another thing that happens, someone gives you directions and they speak super fast and you're too embarrassed to ask them to slow down.
So you just smile and nod while your brain screams internally.
And then you walk away repeating the last 2 words you remember, hoping they were important.
Usually they weren't. Sometimes I repeat the directions back to make sure I understood.
Yes, like, okay, so straight and then right.
Exactly. It helps avoid disaster.
I once repeated directions back to a guy and he said, "Oh no, that's completely wrong." Like he suddenly forgot what he said before.
That must have been stressful.
It was like a surprise plot twist.
Asking for directions also leads to unexpected conversations.
Like the old man in Madrid who told us 5 directions and then spent 10 minutes talking about his favorite childhood bakery.
And then insisted we go there.
And we did. And it was delicious.
Honestly, half of my travel memories come from asking for directions.
Same. You meet people, you laugh, sometimes you panic a little, but then you find your way.
Or you find something else you didn't expect.
That's the magic of being lost.
You know what's interesting? In some cities, younger people know more English, so they're easier to ask.
True, but once I asked a teenager, and he turned into a full professional tour guide. He explained 4 different routes with pros and cons.
That kid should charge money.
Honestly, I wanted to hire him on the spot.
Honestly, I wanted to hire him on the spot.
Sometimes people even walk with you part of the way.
Yes, and you feel like you suddenly made a temporary best friend.
And then you both do that awkward, well, this is where we separate
Moment. The real traveler's goodbye.
I've also noticed that people are extra kind when you look truly confused.
So you're very loved by strangers.
Yes, your confusion invites kindness.
Yes, your confusion invites kindness.
Yes, I'm like a magnet for help.
Asking for directions also helps you understand local culture.
Definitely. Some people are direct, some are warm, some tell stories, some use landmarks, some use hand gestures like superheroes.
And sometimes when you ask, you end up learning about a local cafe, a hidden street, or a place you would never find alone.
That's the best part, getting lost and finding something better than what you were originally looking for.
Exactly. Getting lost isn't always a mistake.
Sometimes it's the highlight of the day.
And sometimes it's the reason we miss a train.
Okay, that happened twice.
3 times.
Fine, 3, but it was worth it.
You know, thinking about all these direction stories reminds me of how different every city feels when you're trying to find your way. Some cities are super organized with clear signs everywhere, and others feel like they were designed by someone who really loved mysteries.
Absolutely. Like that time we were in Hanoi and every street looked like 3 other streets, and the moment we turned one corner, scooters appeared from every direction, like a cinematic action scene.
I remember you standing on the sidewalk, holding your phone high like it was a magical GPS wand that could save you.
I was trying to get better signal. And honestly, the Met kept spinning like it was dizzy from how fast we were turning around.
Hanoi was beautiful, though, especially the old quarter. But yes, asking for directions there felt like part of the adventure.
The best part was when an old man tried to explain the route to us with nothing but hand motions. I swear he drew an entire invisible map in the air.
And when we still didn't understand, he laughed, grabbed your arm gently, and walked us all the way to the first intersection.
I felt like I was being escorted by the city's guardian.
He was so kind. And then as soon as he left, you turned the wrong way again.
Hey, the intersection had options.
3. It had 3 options.
Exactly. Too many.
Another city that confused me was London. You'd think everything would be simple, but no. You ask someone how to get somewhere and they say, oh, it's just a 5-minute walk, but it's actually 20 minutes and uphill.
Brits have different time measurements. 5 minutes means you'll get there eventually, love.
And sometimes they don't use left or right. They say things like, head up that way, and point vaguely into the distance.
The famous British point.
Or walk past the pub. Which pub? There are 8 pubs on one street.
Honestly, asking for directions in London should be a game.
Or a challenge on a travel show. Meanwhile, in New York, people give directions like they're reading from Google Maps.
Yes, very clear, very fast. 2 blocks up, turn left, then the building's right there.
And they always say it with confidence, like they've been training for this.
The only problem is you have to walk fast too, or you feel like you're in someone's way.
You really do. New York energy is contagious. Then there was Bangkok. The signs were in Thai, English, and sometimes not there at all.
But the people were incredibly helpful.
Yes. I asked a woman how to reach a temple, and she literally stopped her motorbike, took off her helmet, and explained everything slowly and clearly.
And then offered to drive us part of the way.
We said no, but the gesture was so sweet.
I once asked a street vendor for directions, and instead of explaining, he pulled out his phone, opened Google Maps, zoomed in, rotated it, and then handed it to me like a professor showing a diagram.
The respect.
The education.
The responsibility.
I felt like I was defending a thesis.
Some cities make it really easy, though, like Singapore. Everything is labeled so clearly.
Yes, Singapore signs never lie. If a sign says MRT this way, it actually is that way.
A miracle. But the funniest experience was in Rome. I asked a man how to get to the Trevi Fountain, and he gave me directions using emotions.
That's right. He said, you walk straight until you feel the energy of the city pulling you right, then follow your heart.
I was like, is this directions or poetry,
And then he said, "You will hear the water before you see it."
which was actually true.
Italians make everything dramatic in the best way.
Asking for directions in different countries really teaches you how people think.
And how they see their own cities.
Some use landmarks, some use street names, some use gestures, and some just use enthusiasm.
And sometimes you end up learning more about the culture from those conversations than from the actual destination.
Exactly. Getting lost becomes a story
A shared moment with a stranger,
and a way to understand the world a little better.
even if you still end up at the wrong place first.
You know, Tom, one thing I realized is that asking for directions often makes you notice things you'd normally ignore. Like, while you're looking for the street, you suddenly spot a tiny cafe or a mural you'd never have seen otherwise.
Absolutely. It's like getting lost has its own rewards. You think you're just wandering, but really you're exploring hidden gems.
And sometimes the person giving directions points out something interesting along the way. Like, oh, if you like books, stop by this shop. It's amazing.
I love that. Those little tips always make the walk more fun.
And you start noticing the small details of the city, the way people interact, the sounds of the streets, even the smells.
Yes, I swear in Lisbon, I was following directions but ended up mesmerized by the scent of freshly baked pastries on every corner.
And we had to stop at like 3 places before we actually got to where we were going.
Totally worth it. I mean, it's all part of the experience.
Another funny thing is how body language becomes your best friend. Sometimes you don't even understand the words, but gestures and pointing save the day.
I've relied on that so many times. You start developing a little dictionary of gestures in your head.
Like the universal go straight arm wave or the turn left point.
And don't forget the, wait, I need to explain better hands.
Oh, yes, that one is always dramatic.
You also realize that people often give directions in completely different ways. Some are super precise, like go 2 blocks, turn right, first blue building, then second left.
And others are very vague, like just keep going, you'll see it.
Which is terrifying, but also kind of exciting.
It's true. And then you start making mental maps, connecting landmarks to turns like a little detective.
And that's when you notice how creative some directions can be. Turn left at the tree that looks like it's dancing.
Exactly. And then you spend 10 minutes trying to figure out which tree they meant.
That's part of the adventure, though. It keeps your mind sharp.
And humor is a big part of it. I can't count how many times we laughed at our own mistakes while following directions.
Oh, yes. Like the time we followed someone's directions but ended up in a completely different neighborhood.
And you were insisting, I think this is right. Well, I was like, Tom, look at the street signs.
But then we found that amazing little bookstore, so it all worked out.
And that's what I love. Even when the directions are imperfect, something good happens.
And your confidence grows. You learn to ask questions, clarify, and trust both people and yourself.
And even when you're lost, you realize it's okay to pause and ask again. There's no shame in double checking.
I've learned that the hard way. Asking twice is smarter than wandering aimlessly.
And sometimes the second person gives a completely different route, and then you have to make a choice.
Which is like a mini adventure in itself. Do you trust your instinct or the new advice?
And either way, you end up with a story.
Every wrong turn, every helpful gesture, every confused look, it all becomes part of your memory of the city.
And you realize that asking for directions isn't just about finding the place. It's about connecting with people, noticing your surroundings, and learning along the way.
And building your confidence in English, too. You learn how to phrase questions, how to respond, how to be polite.
Exactly. It's practice disguised as necessity.
And sometimes the people you ask end up being the highlight of your trip.
Like that time in Rome when we were hopelessly lost, and a man not only gave us directions, but walked with us halfway.
And told us a story about his childhood on the way?
It was unforgettable.
Those little human connections are what make travel so special.
And another thing, Tom, is that asking for directions teaches patience. You realize that even if you're in a hurry, taking a moment to ask properly saves so much time later.
Absolutely. And it makes you more observant. Suddenly, you notice street names, building numbers, little signs you'd normally ignore.
And it becomes fun to challenge yourself. Like, okay, can I find this place just by following these directions?
Or, how many turns can I take before I completely get lost?
And even if you do get lost, it's okay. That's when the best stories happen. Like the time we ended up at that tiny coffee shop we would have never found otherwise. Best espresso ever.
And you accidentally ordered something that looked like coffee but was actually hot chocolate?
Hey, I discovered a new favorite drink. Or remember when we asked directions to a museum and the local kid pointed us down a narrow alley full of cats?
I still think the cats were judging us.
Probably. And we got lost, but we found that tiny street market that wasn't on any map.
And you tried that weird fruit and loved it.
Yes, and it became one of my favorite travel memories. That's the thing. Asking for directions sometimes leads to surprises you'd never plan.
Or disasters that turn into stories, like the time someone told us to just cross the park and we ended up in a fountain.
You didn't end up in the fountain. You fell in the fountain.
Same difference. It was hot, sunny, and we laughed so much.
And asking directions makes you realize how creative people are. You hear descriptions like, turn left at the tree that looks angry, or follow the path until you see the blue door that doesn't open. And you're like, how do they even notice that?
That's why I always take notes now. Not literal notes, but mental notes. Sometimes the landmarks are hilarious, sometimes useful, sometimes both.
And it teaches you to trust strangers in small ways. Not like, here's my wallet, but in the sense that someone will give you directions or help you with the map.
And sometimes it's a team effort. Like we'll ask someone, then ask another, and suddenly we have 5 opinions, and we still somehow pick the wrong one.
Classic. But even then, it's funny. You end up walking through streets you didn't know existed.
And sometimes you find the cutest little cafes or bookstores hidden away. Those moments make the wrong turns worth it.
Or that time a local insisted we take a shortcut through a playground and we had to climb over benches.
Yes, my shoes got muddy, but I felt like an adventurer.
And the kids were watching us like we were part of a live show.
Exactly. You notice so much when you walk like that, and asking directions helps you explore more.
And the language practice. Asking in English, understanding the reply, repeating the steps. It all becomes part of learning naturally.
I always love repeating directions back to someone. Okay, straight, left at the bakery, then right at the fountain. They usually nod, and I feel like I just passed a tiny English test.
And sometimes people smile because you tried. They see effort even if your pronunciation is off.
And humor helps too. If you make a small joke or smile, they often laugh and make extra effort to guide you.
One time we asked for directions in a city, and the locals started drawing a map in the dirt with a stick.
And I thought, this is genius. I took a mental photo of the map.
Then we followed it and ended up exactly where we wanted to be, except we passed 3 cafes I wanted to try along the way.
Priorities, Hannah.
And that's another thing. Asking for directions sometimes leads you to little hidden gems. Restaurants, shops, parks you'd never notice on your own.
Or murals in street art that aren't on Google Maps.
And sometimes, after asking directions, you meet people who share more than directions, like a story, a tip, or even a snack.
Like that old lady in Lisbon who gave us a tiny pastry and said, for the journey.
So sweet. Moments like that make getting lost less frustrating.
And it helps you remember that everyone can be kind if you just ask nicely.
And that's why asking directions isn't just about navigation. It's about connecting, exploring, laughing, and discovering.
And making memories that are way more fun than just following GPS.
And for our listeners, we hope this encourages you to get a little lost sometimes. Ask a stranger for help and enjoy the adventure that comes with it.
And please, if you've had funny or memorable experiences asking for directions, share them in the comments. We love reading your stories.
And if you enjoy this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
Share it with a friend who loves traveling, exploring, or learning English in a fun way.
Your support helps us keep making these episodes and connecting with learners all over the world.
Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.